What's up, my friend? Welcome to today's show. I am Y311H. It's a pleasure to have you aboard today, wonderful light beam. On this program, on this show, we get to react together to good vibes videos from all over the world, from different humans, my friend, with different messages, my friend, and different videos. All this, my friend, we react through them with the pure positive intentions of spreading love, peace, honesty, and forgiveness to the whole world. So kindly hit that subscribe button and join us on our mission of spreading love, wonderful soul, to the whole world. Peace be with you as we dive into the reactions. My friend, there's one more thing. There's this book here. Yeah, this book that is open. You can take a look at it. English people call it the Bible. Others from this side of the world call it Ifukuriagai or the Book of God. But we here, my friend, refer to it as the Book of Wisdom or the Guide of Life. And today, this is what it says us. Therefore, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink, or with regard to a religious festival, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day. These are a shadow of the things that were to come. The reality, however, is found in Christ. Do not let anyone who delights in false humility and the worship of angels disqualify you for the prize. Such a person goes into great detail about what he has seen, and his unspiritual mind puffs him up with idle notions. Well, this, my friend, is interesting. You can continue reading. Is from Colossians 1:16 going, Colossians 2:16 going down. You can even tell us if you have a different version of what it says through the comment section. And now, my friend, you see, as we read from that Good Vibes book of wisdom also, we also acknowledge the creator of this world, my friend, of us all. So we shall give thanks to that creator before we dive in. Let's humble ourselves together and do so. Thank you, Father, for your goodness, love, kindness, Father, and your good and all your good deeds in our lives. All glory and honor belong unto you, Father. Thank you for this wonderful and mighty soul, Father, that you have created and enabled them to join us today. All glory and honor, Father, belong unto you, dear Lord. All thanks, Father, belong unto you. This soul, Father, may they be of great help, Father, in helping us to spread our message of love and peace to the whole world, Father. And as we do so, impact their lives, Father, with your goodness, with your light, with your kindness, Father, and reveal yourself to them in miraculous ways, Father. Open their ways, Father, and shed light on the sides of their life that may seem dark, Father. Carry all their burdens and feed them with your spirit. In Jesus' mighty name, do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Wonderful, interesting. So let's dive into spreading some good vibes. Keep it locked till the end. Peace. Let's dive in. Could this be real glitches caught on camera, my friends? You take a look and tell me. This book, The Brimstone Bears versus the Mandela Safe. This is crazy. Some people believe that book was different from what we have normally seen. And like this guy here, my friend, take a closer look at the guy that comes up behind this guy. This is exactly weird, my friends. Oh, look at this. This piece of wood here, or of tree, decided to float mid-air. How can you explain that? Or explain this stone, my friends, that seems to be floating? This is unimaginable. Our good vibes friend here thought he was tripping when he saw these things on which seemed quite unusual to them in their area, but not as confusing as these guys, who didn't seem to understand which side the lake or ocean was going to. It's crazy, my friend. You see? Look at this.
The following video is terrifying. Something is drawing this man into the woods. Now, he was about 150 yards in. His home is directly behind him, and he's in a remote area in the mountains. This situation has happened before. He said he's heard a baby crying, and that's what pulled him into the woods. While this time around, he hears children. Again, it's a remote area in the mountains. There's nobody out here. There shouldn't be anybody out here with him, much less children playing. But as you listen, you can clearly hear what sounds like a child. Is this some sort of creature or unidentified creature trying to lure him into the woods? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Listen to this shit. Keep in mind, about 150 yards into a 20-acre wooded area. Listen. There's nothing around. You hear that? That's my dog barking back at my house because he hears it. Y'all still think that shit's a panther? Because I don't. And this is in the middle of the fucking day. I'll be back tonight.
Oh my god, or that was some bird, my friend, in that previous video. Look at this crowd which was seen falling from some place here. This is crazy. This spectacular sight was seen in Murang Raya. Netizens have compared the falling crowd to that of the Dragon Ball character Goku's crowd. This is crazy, my friends. However, Indonesia's Meteorological Climatical Department has offered a simple explanation of this phenomenon. Get what they said. They said this stated the white mass is likely not a cloud. What could it be? But possibly condensation of water vapor or gas due to the autumn conditions. This is crazy. Under certain conditions, specific temperatures and humidity, air can do that, or gas can gather and form a dense shape like.
So now we learn from the Bible why your map is upside down. Hello out there. In this video, I will be showing you that the east and west that we know of today is different from the east and west in the Bible. Now, this is the first incident in the book of Enoch where I almost gave up on trying to figure it out. I actually put this down because I could not understand it, but the Most High has encouraged me to pick it back up, and He gave me the understanding by opening up a candle of understanding in my heart. And now I will be sharing this with you. And it's coming from the book of Enoch. It says, and at the ends of the earth, I saw 12 portals open to all the quarters of the heavens. These are the four right here. 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, 4 quarter. These are the 4 quarters of the earth. All right. And it said 3 of them are open on the face, which is the east. All right. This is the face. This is as saith this is a head. This is the dome. And it's looking at you. So this is the face. So, and this is the back of the head. This is the ear on this side. This is the ear on that side. Let's just use that as an example. So we have the east. This is the face. All right. It says 3 of them are open on the face. That's the east of the heavens. And 3 are in the west. All right. 3 in the west. And 3 on the right, which is the south. See, we have 3 on the right, all right, of heaven, and 3 on the left, which is the north. That's the left. That's the north. Now, already, when we look at this map or this chart, we see something strange going on here. So if we turn it like this, and we have the east on this side, which we normally look at, and we have the west on this side. Notice that the south is up and the north is down. Therefore, the east and the west is correct through here, but the north and the south is incorrect according to the way we think. But this is the Bible. So even if we turn it this way and put the north at the top, like we're normally used to seeing it, and the south at the bottom, we have the west on the east side, and we have the east on the west side. So where are we going with this? Well, Remember all of those videos online when they show the eclipse coming from the west? We see it coming from this way, or same thing here this way. It is actually coming from the east because the map has the north at the top and the south at the bottom, and this is biblical. So the eclipse is actually coming from the east, and we think that it is coming from the west, but it is actually coming from the east. So it is coming from this way, which is the east, and it's going this way, and as you can see, America's right here. So we see this eclipse coming from this way, and it's coming from east to west. I'm going to leave that at that. God bless you. Great night or day.
Oh my god, what is this thing? Are these stones or what's up? Man, this looks like one gigantic horn. Unbelievable.
Have a go of this. Watch these walls. Oh my god, bro. What?
Area 51.
Yeah, that's right. Were you an employee or are you now?
A former employee.
Former employee.
I was let go on a medical discharge about a week ago, and I've kind of been running across the country. Oh man, I don't know where to start. They're gonna they'll triangulate on this position really soon.
You can't spend a lot of time on the phone, so give us something quick.
Okay. Okay. What we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of
Sneaky psychological tricks to make people instantly like you. Create a bond by sharing a harmless little secret. This actually fosters trust and camaraderie. Number 2 is the favor phenomenon. It's called the Benjamin Franklin effect. By asking someone to do a favor, it actually makes them like you more. Number 3, use their name. It actually makes people feel valued and seen. So say, hey Alex, how are you?
My god, what creature is this, my friends?
Okay. When you see the three wise men, it's a code and a metaphor. The ancient secret of the three wise men. The three wise men riding on the camels represents the camel's brain resembling a person bowing. It's a metaphor for the three wise men. You see this? That's the eyes. That's the brainstem. That's the cerebellum of the brain. That's the cerebrum of the brain. So you see this? That's an actual person bowing. These symbols are all representation of the human mind itself. The spine or the brainstem, the brainstem that is connected to the spine, the cerebellum, and the cerebrum, which is the main parts of the brain. Okay, the soles of the feet represents the doorway of the soul, which is the eye. The eye sees, it goes in to the mind programs it and transmits it down the body, which the body reacts to whatever it sees. Now, the ears are the windows because the wind goes in to the windows, which is the ears. So the brain of the camels showing a person bowing is just a metaphor of the person bowing, which shows the human mind. The three gifts that the wise men bring is frankincense, myrrh, and gold. These three things are just words which describes a secret, which is the secretion of the brain, the melanin hormones, that comes down and creates what we call myrrh, which is known secrecy as the secret code for metal mercury. And the frankincense is the burning when the phosphorus from the bladder comes in and burns the sulfuric acid within, which forms the cinnabar, the red root within the spine that creates the mercury. And when the moon has come to the right center itself of the lunar cycle, the mercury spirals up. So mercury represents spirit. So the mercury spirals up to the brain and creates a melanin explosion with the pineal gland. It's 2.5 days in the thalamus of the brain, comes to the pineal, and it's a melanin secretion creates a explosion which forms the manna from heaven, monoatomic gold. That's how the gods became gold. And that's one of the most very important secret. You must save this video before they take it down. So the three wise men represents the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. In unity, they create melanin hormones, to or in the right hemisphere. So they regulate its flow down the spine and back to transform it. So the three wise men bringing gifts from the east represents the eastern hemisphere of the cerebrum of the brain, which the oil is produced in the claustrum of the brain and comes down. And if you don't destroy it, it regenerates up. Now they won't tell you that it's mercury that is formed within your body or gold, because they don't want you to understand that melanin is the key component of that element which transforms the body. And now you know.
The chosen ones were a group of highly evolved souls that saw what was going on in the false matrix and said, not on my watch. But they also realized that they couldn't change the false matrix from outside the false matrix. The false matrix was set up so ingeniously that higher frequency couldn't permeate or penetrate. So these higher frequency beings were essentially powerless to effect change within the false matrix. The only way that we could do it was to come in as a human being.
Guys, got a minute? I want to share something really profound with you. Two things, actually. What led up to Moses asking God his name? Because it was a very specific reason why he did it. Watch this. In Exodus chapter 2, when he came, he saw an Egyptian persecuting one of the Israelites, and he killed the Egyptian. The next day, he saw two Israelites fighting, and he stopped them. And in verse 14, this Israelite says to Moses, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Are you intending to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and said, "Surely the matter has become known." And he fled. Who made you a prince and a ruler over us? Moses couldn't answer the question. You know why I know it's true? Because 40 years later, in the wilderness, Exodus 3, verse 13, when God comes to Moses, Moses said to God, verse 13, "Behold, I'm going to the sons of Israel, and I will say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you. Now they may say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them?" The only reason why he said that to God was because the first time that Moses tried to help his people, he didn't know God at all. Now God comes to him and says, "I'm going to use you." And Moses said, "Hold on, I've been down this road before. They're going to ask me who sent me." Now here's where we get it wrong. God said to Moses, "I am who I am." He said that to Moses. Moses says, "What's your name?" He says, "I am who I am." And then, "Thus you shall say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you." You see, when we say, what did God say his name was? He said his name was I am. He didn't say, "I am who I am." He was responding to Moses. Moses was saying, "What's your name?" He said, "I am who I am." What does that mean, I am who I am? It quite literally means he's whoever he wants to be. He could be healer. He could be deliverer. You'll never get the name of God, ever. You never will. The only name that you will ever know God by that means anything is Father. Read, pray, worship. Read, pray, worship.
There's an indigenous woman that said she could speak to bees, And she said that for a long time she would stare at beehives until a bee came out and somehow communicated to her and said, "We don't mind you looking at our hive, but please just stop looking at it for such a long time, because your conscious expression is putting too much light in the hive and we like it to be dark."
Yeah.
So where you put your conscious expression is where you're putting your light. And they didn't like the constant looking because it put too much light in the hive. My method is very short. So it takes about 5 minutes and 20 seconds, where there's liquid on top and ice underneath. I tip the liquid away and photograph the remaining crystallography, or the liquid crystal stage of ice that's on the dish. Now, as the ice is just beginning to form, it sends these little shoots out of ice. So there's still liquid in the water in the dish, but this ice starts coming out. It's rare that I can get the timing just right, but I can see light coming out of the tip of the ice, and it looks like a halo. There was a scientist that wrote that actually water is only 1 part matter, the 2 hydrogens and oxygen. The rest is actually photonic light, making water a lighthouse. If water was the holy grail, its contents would be light. And so I think it's actually light that paves the way for the design and formative structure of the ice that's forming. Wherever there is light, water goes. There is always water and light. They are together. They are like a beautiful marriage. He said, "I found something that's going to change the world." His brother rushed over. It took him 3 hours to get to Gennedy's house. Gennedy was found. His work was confiscated. However, Gennedy had read this magazine called See the Other Way Around, which talked about the potential that when you are having a very clear vision in your mind's eye, that vision in your mind's eye essentially is projected out of the eyes like a hologram, which can be captured on camera. So he was working with psychiatric patients at the time who were having hallucinations and visions. He set something up called a zenith camera. It's a black and white camera. It has a kind of long lens. He got a scuba diving mask, took the lens out of the scuba diving mask, and attached the rubbery part around the kind of long lens of the camera. And there's an assistant. Janet is asking the patient, just tell me when you see something and tell me what you see. And the assistant is writing it down. Patients are having hallucinations. They believe that what they're seeing is real. And so after they'd written it down, he'd develop the photographs, and out of 200 patients that he worked with over 20 years, 117 of them were able to confirm that the black and white images that came from their mind-made pictures were in fact what they were seeing. This was repeated in the last 20 years by more Russian scientists, and the scientists stood behind a wall holding up numbers and shapes. And as she tuned into the numbers or the shapes, someone would take the photo of her eyes. And they were able to prove that this is a phenomena. In fact, all of the scientists did it. The only way it worked, though, was if you had a clear mental picture in your mind's eye. And there were two schools of thought. One was that perhaps there's a secondary realm of consciousness that we can't see, or the brain sends information to the retina of the eye, which is mostly this fourth phase, more plasmatic water. And that then translates that information into picture form, which is kind of what I'm seeing in my work, and projects it like a hologram, which can be captured on camera. And they made a documentary called something along the lines of "Thought is Material, It's Proven." It's in Russian, but there's English subtitles. The phenomena is happening. And I'm not the only person.
There are 12 laws of the universe, and you may or may not have heard of them, but the difference between the 12 laws of the universe and the religious commandments, let's say the 10 commandments, for example, is that you are bound by one, and the other one you don't actually have to pay any attention to whatsoever. Of course, that's going to offend some religious people who feel, how dare you blaspheme the Holy Bible and tell us that the 10 commandments are things that we can just do away with. Easy. People do away with them all the time. People do commit murder. People do lie and steal and cheat and adulterate and falsely worship things that are not themselves. And even further is the fact that we actually don't need them to dictate anything in our lives or about our lives, because we are born with the innate nature of understanding that murder is bad, lying is bad, cheating people is bad. However, because in this plane you have been made to believe that the true source of all that is not within you and is actually of this world and outside of you, you believe that you need a God to tell you how to conduct your soul. Even though your religious text tells you the true source of all that is, if you want to call that God, dwells in you. You are the temple. You believe that you are born evil, and so you go seeking religion. You go seeking the God of this material world, and you even baptize yourself in water. And I'll say rebaptize yourself in water, because you come in the womb, baptized in the Holy Spirit, in the womb of water, which in your religious text is called the Matrix. Which brings me to my main point, the 12 universal laws of the Matrix, the cosmos, the universe, nature. First law is the most important and the reason why we are here in this plane to begin with, and it is the law of divine oneness, which tells us that everything is not only connected, but everything is the same thing, manifested differently, which is actually substantiated by the religious text, which tells you that you do well to know that God is one. Demons know also and tremble, which is the true meaning of the verse that Christians often misquote to believe that demons tremble at the mention of Jesus' name. Nowhere in their text does it say that. It says that they tremble at oneness. Second law of the universe is the law of vibration, which tells us that all things, inanimate and animate, intangible and intangible, have vibration. And that vibration exists within a specific frequency. Imagine being tuned into a radio station, which is a frequency. When you're turned onto the hip hop and R&B frequency, you're only going to get music or vibrations that match the frequency of the hip hop and R&B station. Meaning, in order to get pop, alternative rock, you're going to have to change the station or the frequency. Which brings me to the third law, which is the law of correspondence, which tells you that your external reality is a direct result of your internal thoughts. So in order to align with a specific vibration or frequency, your thoughts have to match it, which is the perfect segue into the fourth law, which is the law of attraction. Likeness attracts likeness. Of course, we have been taught that opposites attract. Lie. To the person who's going to say, well, in physics, we do see that opposites attract. I would say to that person, the difference is that, yes, we are electric. However, we are internally electric, meaning that everything that happens in our reality comes inside outside. However, when you're talking about electromagnetism, you're talking about something that endures outside forces. It's outward inward, meaning they are only attracted to each other as a result of a magnetic field. Without those outside forces, it wouldn't look like that. The fifth law is the law of inspired action, which essentially just states that when you are aligned with who you truly are, inspiration will come to you. You don't have to force it. Because again, remember, you are the true source of all that is. You are creative because you create. The sixth law, which is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, states that everything is fluctuating and growing. Therefore, if it lacks evolvement, change, something is wrong. The seventh law is the law of cause and effect, which states that for every cause, there is obviously an effect. Our thinking creates the cause, and our experiences are the effect. The unironically eighth universal law, and my personal favorite, is the law of compensation, what some people call karma. You reap what you sow. What you give to others shall be given to you. What you withhold from others shall be withheld from you. It is unavoidable. It is a universal law. Which is okay, because the ninth universal law tells us that everything is relative anyway. We perceive the world how we want to. Because the 10th law of the universe tells us that there is a law of polarity, meaning everything in the universe has an opposite, we know that there are vast realities existing. But don't fear, don't fret, don't create anxiety in your thought processes. Flow like water, because that is the 11th law of the universe, which is the law of rhythm. Everything has a nature and a season. You in your life have seasons too. At a collective level, we have seasons. Astrology, which is substantiated by the religious text, which tells you that you should use the sun, the moon, the stars for signs and seasons, Genesis 1. And the final law of the universe, which is equally as important as the first, is that there is a law of gender. And that law is quite contrary to what you've been taught, which is to follow social constructs about femininity and masculinity that are not real because they are constructed, crafted, created. The universal law tells you, however, that life is only in alignment for you when your masculine and feminine identities come together. To exist only in one is to exist as half of yourself. Nothing done halfway can reach completion. Here's the most important nugget of truth for all of those who stayed through this very long, very long video. I have previously said that they are bound by the laws of the cosmos, which requires them to tell us the truth. Throughout the course of this very long video, where I have described all 12 of the universal laws, not in a single one did I reveal that they are required to tell us the truth. So let me explain. If they, being the powers that be, tell you the truth, then they believe they get to escape the laws of the universe, that they will avoid the law of compensation. They will avoid karma because they told you. And since they told you, you willed what happened to you. You gave compliance, you agreed, you cooperated in your destruction. They hide the truth in plain sight. They put it in the movies, the TV shows, the entertainment, the sports, the news. They put it in the papers, the books, on social media. And most importantly, they put it in the religious texts because they have to. Unfortunately for them, who are metaphorically deemed the fallen angels and therefore cannot reascend into heaven, aka the height of consciousness, they don't know what we know, which is that unfortunately for them, they did not escape the laws of the universe. Ashe.